Hello everyone, welcome back to the Doomlands. In today's episode, we will be making a cozy, peaceful farming district, and we will be moving all of the animals out of the city so that it's less noisy and crowded and so that they all have their own homes to live in. I will also be making an AFK sheep wool farm, although that moving in the sheep will wait until later when I make an iron farm. And I will also be making a small net tree farm so that I can get the mushrooms needed to grow the trees. But now I will show you. Off camera I made an ender chest, and there are the ancient debris that I mined because I got trapped in the nether and needed somewhere to safely store my things so that I could respawn at the base and get them back without losing them in lava. But now let's get started on making a very simple farm, which is a shifting floor farm to get the saplings to grow the nether. We are now approaching the city walls that I made in the previous episode, and I really like how it's come out. I still need to add a few more windows and things, but as well as some proper gates. But there is so much more room to work with, and I'm really happy with how the walls turned out. I still have to get rid of the trees and do some terraforming, such as getting rid of the sand and replacing it with grass, but I will show you that in a very quick time lapse, and you can see the gatehouse coming up to that we are coming up to. It's came out very well in the end, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. So now you could enjoy a very quick time lapse. Hello everyone, welcome back after the time lapse. It looks a lot better now that it's all green inside the city and that the trees are chopped down. It'll be even better when I get rid of the vanilla houses and the animals and start planning the layout of the city. But you could see the space that we have to work with. And in the space between the city and the windmill is where I will be making our farming district, and over there you could see our tree farming area. But yeah, we've got a lot of room inside the city, and it is getting a lot bigger than I expected, of course. But anyhow, let's get started on the farming district. I will first be making an animal barn for our cows, so let's get to it. Now that we have a load of wood, I'm going to start building the frame of the barn, and to save all of the back and forth of gathering resources and such, I will be cutting that out of the time lapse, but enjoy another time lapse of me building the barn. Welcome back after the time lapse. I had to interrupt the building process of the barn in order to make a tree farm to get some mushrooms that I need to grow some nether trees, because I need crimson wood to make the roof. A rather convoluted process, but I'm using a tutorial that I found on YouTube and I will link it in the description below. It's a very useful farm because you can either use it to get infinite flowers or seeds, and it relies on pistons shifting the floor back and forth to get those things, or you can put netherrack and use that to get either the blue or red mushrooms needed to grow the nether trees. So I will cut now to the finished product and show you how it works. Well, here is the final product. It is very janky and I did not follow the tutorial properly, but it works, and I can basically put water through these slabs because the floor is constantly shifting and bone meal is getting put through the floor with the dispenser, which gives me all of these drops. So I can put the crimson roots in this composter setup and use it to get more bone meal, and as you can see, I've been using the farm a lot in order to get these mushrooms so that I can grow the trees. So now I will chop down a bunch of the nether trees and I will get back to building. Well folks, the barn is finished and here is the grand reveal. Ta-da! As you can see, it's come out very nicely and I'm very happy with the final product. We packed in a lot of detail and it kind of matches the starter house with using the cherry wood as well. And I grew an extra cherry tree and made a little campfire area. It's looking very cozy and very cottagecore almost. And I will add some more decorations to it, but now let's go get the cows. Now that the cows were in place, I started making some glass cubicles to keep the sheep in, although they wouldn't go in right away, because I want to make an iron farm first, and so in the next episode I will make a temporary iron farm. But I will now cut to another time lapse of me building the sheep barn. Enjoy. In between building, I needed to get some diorite because I had run out of resources, so I went to a nearby mine shaft and then I found a spawner. However, there wasn't just one spawner. There were 7 spawners. Look at this. There are 2 spawners right here, and that is like a very good find on its own because that doubles our string output. But I kept hearing spiders, so I kept digging, and eventually I found 7 total spawners, although only 6 are able to be used because the 7th was too far away. But I really wanted to use these to make a mob farm. I kept on digging, and as you can see, there is a 3rd one, and there should be a 4th somewhere. Of course, I fall into a hole, but eventually I will dig out this whole area, and then I will show you the final product once I find all the spawners. Because I kept hearing spiders, and I just wanted to find where they were, because it was really bugging me. And just like that, I found 2 more spider spawners. I could not believe my luck. This is a crazy seed. The dungeon also had some really good loot. Of course, there were a couple spiders lurking about, but it had a mending book and other side, so I was very happy with that. Sticking out the spawners, this just shows you exactly how close they are to each other, so they could definitely be used for a multi-spawner farm. So, as you can see, I tried to set up a very basic farm. Unfortunately, zombies kept spawning and a few other mobs like skeletons. But spiders do spawn, so I just have to figure out a good killing chamber system. But you can see all 6 spawners are in this farm, and it is crazy if I could get it to work. But I shall have to use that for a future I shall have to save that for a future episode, because I then decided to take a break from the farm and get back to building. Now that the distraction was over, I went back to building, I finished making the sheep barn, and then I would go to work on making a well and a chicken coop and stables. So enjoy a montage of me making those builds. Well, now you can see the builds that we have so far. I really like this fantasy design that we're using, and I tried to make some interesting bits overhanging the roof and adding some cherry leaves to give it some more details. And the chicken coop is now finished as well, but before I make the stables, I want to make a retaining wall. So let's get to it. I added some mossy cobblestone and cobblestone to give it a bit of texture, as well as some stone bricks and chiseled stone, and I would later come in and add some fences and some lanterns because I had tons of iron from a mining expedition, which I did as well. But now I could finally get started on making the stables, and I made a separate place which I will eventually keep some pigs in. After making the stables, I then made another retaining wall by the water and used some tuff to break up the cobblestone that I was using, and I also brought in some horses and chickens. But now I will show you a nice walkthrough of everything that we have built so far in the farming district. I started the tour from our tree farm, and here you can see we have the docks, and it has a nice view of the city wall and the gatehouse. And you might notice that there are some more farm fields, and of course here is our lovely starter house and our sugarcane. Over here we have a cozy little campfire that we can sit and admire the cherry tree and the view from our starter base. Next, we have a little well with some hidden lighting, and I used some black concrete to make it look like it had a deep bottom. And of course, one of our cows is having a dance. Clearly they like the new pen. I also added some fences and lots of torches, which I would then eventually replace with lanterns, but as you can see, we have a nice little chicken coop with a couple of chickens. I also got started on making some crop fields, and here is our empty sheep pen, which has a fence out back to breed some sheep in. I also made the stables and brought some horses up here, which has a nice little path that we can ride the horses through. I do want to get a donkey, but sadly I couldn't find it anymore, so I think it might have despawned. But now you can see that we have a few farm fields, nothing fancy, just some pumpkins, carrots, potatoes, and beetroots. But we could use that to trade with the villagers, and it's more for aesthetics. Well, thank you all so much for watching, but unfortunately that is all the time we have for today's episode. We made a lot of progress on the city, and we built a whole farming district. Of course, there's still a lot more to do. Plenty of terraforming, planning the layout of the city, building an industrial district, an iron farm, the docks, and so on. But thank you all very much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new, and leave a comment about what you how you think I can improve, what else I should add, and what I should name the animals. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you liked it, and bye for now.